Hey everybody, just to go off that commercial, we have the disc member raffle coming up here in a little over a week. It's on the 15th. Make sure you qualify that by taking you have to be a current disc member, obviously, and then you take a picture of your package and post that picture to Facebook, Instagram, and or Twitter. You can get one entry per platform you post it on, and then you have to tag Disc Store and hashtag disc member. So at Disc Store, and you got to click on the little thing to make it be a link. So both at Disc Store and hashtag disc member need to be blue. If both of those things are happening, it's on a public page, your profile, or a public fan page, you're entered in the raffle. Steve, what do we tell them about the raffle? We're going to announce all the prizes soon, but what did we just lock in today?
With Fossa, Fossa is a bag company. They make bags. They are getting one special bag, disc stored up, Fossa'd up, specifically for disc member. It's going to be the coolest custom bag you're going to see in a long time.
Fossa is donating one Tana Pro, which is one of their original bags. It's a super sweet bag, really good quality. It's a great bag. They're donating one of those, and then they're donating a custom Zany Pro. Me and Steve did a review of that 6 months or so ago. It's a huge bag, one of the biggest bags on the market. And they are going to throw a big disc member logo and a disc store logo on that, so it's going to be a one-of-a-kind custom bag, so you're going to be in on that raffle. If you want to get in on future raffles, go to discmember.com and sign up today. Steve, do you know what's in the July month?
July is for disc golf. It's 2 Innova discs, 1 super sweet stamp, 1's a mystery disc. You're getting a mini. Then you're also going to be getting a sticker.
Drive knee pad.
That's right, the knee pads. Those things are actually pretty cool.
They're little styrofoam, little foam circles that fit inside of a mini so that you can do knee putts or whatever on them. It's a pretty sweet little add-in. There's a sweet Uncle Sam stamp on the Star Darts, and then a disc member corner stamp on a mystery disc, which is 6 different molds. I'm not going to tell you what. Drivers, I can tell you that. They're drivers. So you're going to get a mystery disc in your pack. That should be pretty sweet. All right, so this is episode 53 or 54? 54? All right, this is episode 54 of This Disc is Great with Steve and Nate. So what we do on this show is we take brand new plastic, go chuck it in a field a bunch of times, and tell you how it flies. So if you're new to the show, we give a lot of stuff away. We'll give away the 2 discs that we throw during the review. I'm also going to give away this sweet Discraft water bottle since we're doing a Discraft disc today. It's aluminum and super solid. I carried one of these for a long time until I finally broke the bottom out of it. But sweet water bottle, sweet plastic. We're going to give one away to whoever guesses the farthest backhand distance. So you got to guess me or Steve and then how far. So Steve, 450 might be a good guess, or Nate, 275 might be a good guess. Person, distance, and they're going to win the pink Vulture. And then just some good comments, some funny jokes, or just good insightful comments, or really good questions. We haven't been asked a lot of questions the last couple episodes, so ask us some questions. Share the video, comment on the video, like the video, all that good stuff. Make us more popular, and you can win some free stuff. All right, so again, episode 54 of This Disc is Great with Steve and Nate. We have the Discraft Vulture. So this comes in a lot of plastics now. When we first got it, it was only Big Z, so that's what we threw. But now they have ESP Swirl,
yes.
Elite Z,
yes.
The Austin Turner ESP Swirl Glow Vultures that are sweet. Those are available on the website. Go check those out. But we just threw the Big Z, so that's all we're going to have to compare it to. It tends to be one of the straighter, slightly more understable versions of a disc. But Steve, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Vulture?
All right. We've got a speed of 10. A glide of 5, high-speed turn of 0, and a fade of 2. Now, in the videos, we kind of made the video before the numbers really came out, so you're going to see little different numbers from what Discraft actually put in. These are Discraft's numbers.
So the Big Z plastic doesn't have numbers on it, which is what we were going off of and what some of the estimates of the numbers were. When they released ESP Swirl, Discraft's actually putting the 4 number system on that, and that has a 10502.
Yep.
So you'll see a little different number in the video, but I think it was the original numbers I saw were like 94, -13, and then I saw 9402, so some different things in there. But give us the description.
All right. When the predator finishes its prey, the vulture comes into play. The vulture is described as a well-seasoned predator with less overstability and more glide. The vulture is predictable in the wind and a great long-range placement driver. Pros will appreciate the shot-shaping ability of this driver, while less experienced players will find consistent, predictable flights.
So the Predator for Discraft is kind of their Firebird slot.
Okay.
So this is supposed to be a seasoned, straighter version of the Predator. So Steve, with that description and those numbers, what are some discs that immediately jump out to you as comparisons?
Just recently, our dynamic disc Getaway, the numbers are almost spot on.
And we threw these next to each other, and they were very similar.
Oh yeah. I would also say, was it the Fortress that was really close to this?
Yeah, Westside Fortress would be close. I'd say the Discmania PD, or the one I didn't think of earlier, the Innova Thunderbird.
Yeah.
Very similar type style disc. We'll see if those comparisons are close and see how they fly. So yeah, let's get to it. The traditional Steve Spikeiser.
And I finally get to go first. So I gave a pretty good pop. 324. I say this a lot, but as long as I'm getting 300 comfortably, I'm happy, especially with throwing it straight up in the air. Like, this, not one of my highlight throws, but basically it held that angle the entire time, no turn. So we're seeing promising, correct flight numbers so far. I don't think it was that hyzer, but really, so I crushed it. Yeah, I really like that it was still getting distance with that extreme hyzer. So if you throw it faster than it's designed to do, designed to be thrown, you'll get it to hold straight for a long time, but consistent fade out.
Especially considering this is the big Z plastic that it's being that stable is impressive, because the big Z tends to be the flippier version of a disc, tends to be the most understable.
It's usually significant.
Yeah,
too.
and fairly like it's the G star of Discraft for sure. We can go ahead and keep going. So it tends to be more overstable in other plastics, which we didn't get. We got the Elite Z's in last week. So I didn't take one out to throw it to compare, but those should be even more overstable than these ones are. So I got all of that one. That was a lot of pop on that disc. Tiny bit of grip lock, but even with that, it's not flipping up out of it too much. That's just flipped the flat and went straight. For a real, like, that didn't go very much higher than 10 feet off the ground.
No, that's very low.
So I am surprised it kept going that far and didn't hit the ground, but just hovered over the ground, super straight for a really long time, and then really reliable fade out. I mean, that's the shot you see all those pros throwing with their Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
That's that same very similar shot. We threw similar shots with the Getaway, with the Getaway. I throw similar shots with my Orcs, that kind of same tier of disc, similar kind of thing. But yeah, 380 out of a 9 or 10 speed disc is all I can ask for.
From flat, it's surprising that was probably thrown directly in line with that, but there's no turn. So the fact that we were able to trust that it wasn't going to just flip over, even being this more understable disc, like we said, the plastic, a little more flippy, still no actual turn.
Yeah, so I'd like to see what the Elite Z ones fly like.
Yeah.
They're probably pretty beefy. But again, 373 with a kind of fairway control driver type disc. That's, again, all that I want to be getting out of it. Anywhere from like 340 to 380 is where I'm going to be throwing a disc like this. Otherwise, I'm going to bump up to something higher speed. But being able to rip on it as hard as I can and it goes straight and fade, that's everything you want in a control driver.
And these were, I was definitely trying to get over on them to see if I could, not necessarily roll it, but see how long it would take to finally get out of the flight. And it actually does. So just a little bit shorter than my longest from the hyzer shot, but it held really nice. It wasn't just really dumpy or anything. I really liked how it held in the ante line.
Yeah, you threw it on that ante and it just kind of held that and got to straight and then came out at the end. So it held the turn that you put on it, but it definitely didn't turn on its own. Even bigger ante, and again, that's pretty much just holding it and then comfortably hyzering out of that at the end. Again, just like the Maverick or the H5 that we'll do here in a few weeks, where the stings put on that angle are rolling. The fact that it's holding that and then comfortably coming out and landing flat. Again, that's a very similar to the shots you see guys throwing with Thunderbirds, PDs, a very, very similar disc. Again, super reliable. You can do a lot of things with it. Let's see how this guy sidearms.
So, being the slower speed, if you're going to put torque on it, you got to drop it down to a hyzer. Get it to pop up, hold flat, have a nice predictable fade, not turn it into a roller. That's all you really want out of something going at least 200.
Yep. Then I get a nice pop on this guy, nice and flat. So forehands do have a little more torque, so they tend to turn a little bit more. So it did drift on me just a little bit to the left, but then it's coming out of that and coming out of that hard, so it has that fade. I max out with my flicks around 350 with a max distance mash. So 307 with control driver with that reliable fade. That's exactly what I want. Feels really great, forehand grip, really solid disc for that. If you're not really wanting to rip antes on Firebirds or something like that, or Felons, then you can just throw this hard and flat. Really reliable.
Now that's a shot that I really like to have, where I don't have to, I would say that was a very small amount of ante that I'm putting on to get to a flex. When I throw my Firebird, there's a ton of ante, and it's still going to finish in the same spot, but having to mess with that much angle is really hard. So the flatter or just barely ante you can put on something and trust it to come out, that's the comfort level that you should be looking for when trying to pick out a disc for certain shots.
Yeah, and so but you put that ante on it, and it held it for a while, but it didn't keep holding it and roll. So that held that ante, came out of it really solidly, exactly what you want out of a fairly overstable control driver. We got a few more here, it looks like. Oh, nope, just that. All right, cool. So 10.502, how do we feel about that numbers-wise, Steve?
I kind of feel that the glide is like a 4.5. Just a little too much drop at the end, and it wasn't as a hyzering out. It wasn't liking to stay in the air too much.
I'm going to disagree with you because that 380 shot that I had that was never farther than 10 feet off the ground went 380. So that's quite a bit of glide. 10 speed is pretty close. I mean, it's 910 somewhere in there. I think the 0 is probably spot on because, again, this is the most understable plastic, and it was barely turning for us. So I wouldn't say it's anything more than 0. Fade, though. How do we feel about the 2?
It had very consistent fade, and every Thunderbird that I've thrown faded just like this.
That's fair. You can go back forth at 2, 2.5 to 3. Somewhere in there. Again, I wanted to throw one of the other plastics just to see if it was beefier, or maybe if the Vultures tend to be really consistent for whatever reason, that these aren't more understable. But I could see if the other ones are more overstable, I would definitely call them 3s.
Yeah.
It is really reliably overstable. Now, probably not this is not a disc I'm going to recommend for beginners right out the box. For a lower arm speed player, though, it might be a great slot for that Firebird slot, so that you don't have to, if the Firebirds are too overstable for you to really use them effectively, something like this would be a nice thing for that slot, so it's still overstable for headwind shots or shots that you just really need to hyzer hard, but not crazy overstable like a Criminal or a Firebird. But for most players, this is going to be a really great just control driver slot that you can throw where you don't need to go max distance, but you still need some reliability in the wind or in you can't have it turn. You need it to fade out. And again, this is sidearm's great, backhand's great, really reliable. It's going to fit that same kind of Thunderbird PD slot that's really a staple in a lot of players' bags and does a lot of things for them. It's going to be really versatile for that stuff. What do you think?
This is finally a disc I would be okay with giving to like my beginner friend instead of my destroyer. Where, when someone's...
Why are you giving your beginner friend a destroyer at all?
When someone brand new is going out to look for a disc, they're looking at the color and the image. And this is finally one that could rival the destroyer. And
neither of these are beginner discs. I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking crazy talk right now, Steve. Neither of those are beginner discs.
I'm saying this is the lesser evil of the two, but for the average player is definitely going to find a spot for this disc versus your higher speed things. So I think this is a very solid disc. I'm ready to give this one away to our longest guess.
Well, okay, closest to the longest?
Yep.
Well, our closest wasn't that close.
The farthest was
365. Our longest was 380. The closest
That's not
guess
bad.
was 365. And that was, let's see, Matthew Martzall.
Hey, I've never heard that name before, so that's a new
Mark
guy.
Saw.
Yay! New watchers. Again, make sure you guys are sharing the video so that we can, spread this to more people. More people can find some good information. All right, we have any good questions we need to answer, Reeser?
Some questions. Let's see. Someone wants to know, let's see. Jimmy Swinson wants to know, how do you guys feel, this is about Dismember, not about the thing.
Sure.
How do you guys feel about doing some sort of night disc and merch for Dismember boxes?
We have talked about it, and I'm looking into some things. We had an opportunity with Night Eyes to do like LED discs, but we got a lot of push. I did a poll in the Dismember Facebook group, which if you're a Dismember, you should get in fans of Dismember on Facebook. I post lots of cool updates and some extra stuff in there. But we didn't want to do something that's not PDGA approved that you couldn't throw. So we are looking into possibilities of doing like LEDs and some other glow stuff, possibly in the fall. No promises, but things I'm looking at. You got the glow DDXs, so you had those. So we'll see what we can do.
Patrick Romero wants to know, the Vulture, what does it compare to, and how does it compare to the Bonsai?
That's actually a really good comparison.
Yeah.
I'd say this is probably a touch faster and so a touch longer, but flight-wise, they're pretty similar.
Yep, 100%.
The same day that we threw these, we threw the Getaways and the Bonsais, and I'd say that
They were all landing in like a 30-foot circle.
Bonsais, these Getaways, usually.
Would you recommend a Vulture or a Diamond? That's a question from Mark Raffle.
They are the opposite ends of the spectrum, almost. For a beginner, I'm definitely not recommend. When we say beginners, it's kind of a wide spectrum of things. If I'm getting one of my ultimate friends to come play disc golf, I'm recommending a different thing than a guy who's never played sports. So for general, I'd say the Diamond is designed to be a beginner-friendly disc or a lower arm speed-friendly disc, so I would generally more recommend that. But this is something that's going to be for somebody who's got a little more arm speed, who's got a little bit better form, those kind of things.
It's a good possible question winner for
Sure, they can win a water bottle.
It's a Discraft question, so they win the water bottle. Let's see. Sean Pavel wants to know which Big Z stamp Discraft is your favorite, you guys?
Ooh.
Thrasher.
Nuke.
Thrasher's a good one. Nuke's a good one. Mantis is okay. Crank's okay.
Predator's cool.
I think I'm probably going to have to go
Undertaker.
Thrasher. Yeah, Thrasher's the right call.
Jurassic Park, dude, all the way.
The Sting's pretty sweet too, though. Big old
So
scorpion.
that'll go to Sean Pavel.
Yeah.
Sean
Sean's
Pell.
going to win that. Got a couple more questions here.
Cool, knock him out.
Justin Williams wants to know your favorite go-to putters in a windy situation.
I putt with pilots, but when it's really windy, I still bust out my classic judge because it's just a little bit more stable and reliable.
I would say if I absolutely needed it, I would pull out my kind of beat up PA1, but my Glow P2s are stable enough that I'm not too worried about them getting taken by the wind right now.
All right. Just a few others. Let's see. Josh Wagner. He had a couple of questions, but we'll give him one. We get this maybe every week. How long have you played disc golf, and what was your first disc?
Let's see. I played once in the summer of 2009, and then I started playing with the guys I interned with in 2010. And at the end of that summer, I bought a Wraith, a Mako, and a Dart. All at the same time. So I don't know which one he scanned first.
I've been playing, this is my third summer, and my very first disc was a DX Viking.
I still have that DX Wraith on my wall.
Oh.
It's super beat up and doesn't fly anything like a Wraith anymore.
I think a Pro D Nuke was my second disc, and that thing looked, that one I kind of wish I'd hung up because when I finally put it away, or threw it for the last time, it was hilarious how many different curves it had going on.
All right, next question that you ask is going to win this Vulture.
All right. Next question. Let's find one. Let's see if we've got one.
As long as it's not one of the bots that we had last week.
I read those. That was hilarious.
Yes.
I couldn't tell if they were bots.
I don't think they're bots, but I definitely think they're people who
They were brought
showing.
in. They were brought in for a reason.
Which somebody said is because we put the word giveaway in our post, but that's been in the post. That's been in the title of every episode forever.
Yeah.
So why last week everyone showed up? I don't know, but it was our most commented video. So thanks, random people.
All right, I found a question. This is from a while back, but Jimmy Yeager, I guess, will be winning this one. And he wants to know, how does that disc compare to the Orc?
I'd say this has. I throw orcs in my bag a lot, so I'd say this is going to do similar things, but it's got a little bit tighter line. Orcs turn just a little bit more, and I'd say fade just a little bit more. But they're going to do basically this. Like I'm not going to bag this because it's too close to my orcs. And so it does a similar thing. It's not going to turn, like I said, it's not going to S-curve quite as much, but it's going to go similar places.
We just had one last question, and it says not disc golf related, but who do you guys have winning the NBA Finals? Who do you want?
It's
not a question.
It's not a question. It's how many games do the Warriors win?
Yeah.
So who do you want to win? Who do you guys want?
I don't pay much attention to the NBA, but LeBron is a whiny little child sometimes. So I have a hard time.
I respect the man for scoring 50-some points, and
he's real good.
But the Warriors are all the way. It's the only option.
Cool. You guys want to go over the winners real quick? Did you write that down?
Yeah, sure. So winning the blue Vulture is Jimmy Yeager for his awesome question. The longest throw was guessed closest by Matt Martsev, and Sean Pavel is going to be winning this Discraft water bottle.
Make sure you hit us up either on Facebook, message us either to this store or the Steve Nate page, or you can email service@disstore.com to claim those prizes. And we'll be back next week we have a lot of options. We'll see. We'll decide what we're going to do later. We've got the Anvil, we've got the Captain, we've got the Sting, we've got the H1, we've got the H5, we've got the Fuji,
Warhorse.
We've got the Warhorse.
Say Anvil?
Anvil, which the Anvil and the Warhorse are beefy. They don't go very far at all. But for us, Jerry Risley was throwing a Warhorse real far. We'll be back next week for episode 55, and we'll see you guys later.
Thanks, guys.